Now, at one point in this investigation, the house at 1122 King Road was actually being considered as the target. And now it's just insignificant. Hey everyone, it's Lucky with Unfiltered Lucky, and today I want to talk a little bit about the University of Idaho's announcement that they're going to demolish the house at 1122 King Road on December 28th. So that's less than 2 weeks away. Now, I understand why the University of Idaho wants to demolish this house. I'm sure this house is a grim reminder to everybody who lives in this community, as well as the students who attend the University of Idaho, of the heinous crimes that happened at this house and inside their community. Now, there's a lot of issues that come along with this house. You know, real estate investors, they don't just give their properties away. But that's what happened here. The owners of the house at 1122 King Road gave this house to the University of Idaho. They didn't do this out of the kindness of their own hearts. They did this because there's a lot of issues that come along with this house. Not only have, parts of the interior of this house been cut away, sheetrock and flooring, they've used chemicals to process this house. And the main thing is, who would really want to live in this house? Who would want to live in this house after these horrific crimes occurred there? So the owners of this property gave the house to the University of Idaho. It's no longer profitable for the property owner, and it's no longer profitable for the University of Idaho. Now, I've said in my previous videos that the University of Idaho is going to try to sweep this under the rug as quickly as possible. They've been trying to demolish this house for a year now. Now, Steve Gonsalves, in my opinion, understands the situation. He understands that there's going to be this struggle between justice for his daughter and the business of this university. The University of Idaho, in my opinion, runs this town. This is a college town. You're talking about 25,000 people, and half of those people attend the University of Idaho. So Steve Gonsalves knew from the very beginning that there was going to be a struggle between justice and the University of Idaho. Now, I agree that this house needs to be demolished. This house needs to be demolished, but not right now. I just don't feel like this house should be demolished before the trial. In my opinion, this house is a key piece of evidence. Demolishing this house, in my opinion, would be destroying evidence. Now, they can have all of the models to scale, all of the computer-generated models, videos, pictures, descriptions, but it's never going to have the same impact as the house itself. They continue to build all of these models, and they've been building these models because their intention has been to demolish this house from the beginning. But you can't recreate the environment of this house. And that's really important because although it's not common for a jury to go out to the crime scene and actually go visit the crime scene, it could happen in this case. This is a quadruple homicide. This is a capital case. It's very possible that these jurors are going to want to go out to the house and get an idea of the environment of the house. Be able to see the house from different angles. Law enforcement, they've constructed this, this path of where this white Hyundai Elantra traveled around this house. But if you demolish the house, nobody's going to be able to see those angles. Nobody's going to be able to see the house exactly where it was. To me, it doesn't make sense. This isn't an investment property, so nobody's losing money on this house. I get it. I understand, the idea that they want to demolish this house in order to maybe help the community heal. But the house was given to the University of Idaho. So they're not losing money on this house. It just seems like why demolish the house when you have the crime scene? You have the crime scene. So you can make all of the models and take all of the photos that you want. But it's not going to be a substitute for the actual crime scene, which is still there. What if they knock this house down and then they need it during the trial? It just doesn't make sense that they would knock it down when they might need this house. They keep saying that this house is insignificant. They're done with it. They don't need this house anymore. But why do people keep going back to this house? If they don't need it, why do investigators continue going back to this house if they don't need the house any longer? The families of these victims should not constantly have to worry that the university is going to demolish this house. The families are they want justice. They want the person who took the lives of their children to be held accountable. The University of Idaho, on the other hand, they're trying to preserve their image. So there's a struggle going on here. And as I said, I try to look at things from both sides. I understand that the University of Idaho would like to demolish this house and erase this memory. But I also understand the families of the victims. The Gonsalves family said something in an interview a while back. And Steve Gonsalves said, we don't just want someone to take the fall for this. Not in those words, but basically what he was saying is, we don't want just anybody to take the fall for this. We want to make sure that the right person or people are held accountable. The families don't want any loose ends, because if they knock this house down and during the trial, there's a juror or some of the jurors that say, we really would have liked to go out and see this house, that's going to cause a problem, because that's going to leave a loose end. That's going to leave a what if. And the family doesn't want that. The families basically, in my opinion, they want to be able to say, look, here it is. He's guilty. Here's the proof. Now let's move forward. They don't want any crazy conspiracy theories after this trial. Now, law enforcement has done some wild things in this investigation, from moving all of the victims' personal belongings out of the house before they even had a suspect, to now they want to knock down the house. So it feels like they're trying to remove a lot of that evidence. They're trying to erase that evidence. So like I said, I understand both sides. I understand the side of the University of Idaho. They're trying to preserve their image, and They don't want their students to constantly be reminded of the crimes that took place at this house at 1122 King Road. But I also understand why they would want to leave this house standing. Right now, you have the crime scene. You have the crime scene. It just doesn't make sense why they're in such a hurry to demolish this house other than, attempting to protect their image. It seems they lost 4 of their own students. It seems as though they would want to do whatever it took to make sure that these college students get the justice that they deserve. But it doesn't seem that they want to do that. It seems, as I've said before in previous videos, they want to sweep this under the rug as fast as possible. There's a lot of money at stake here. And as I've always said, follow the money. It's always about the money. I feel like they should preserve this house and preserve this crime scene. I know that, it's been processed, and I know that pieces and parts have been cut away from this house, but the structure is still there. The environment outside of this house is still there. It's all still there. I feel as though if they knock this house down on the 28th of December, I feel like they're going to regret it, because I feel as though they're going to need this house down the road. Now, after the trial, they can do whatever they want with that property. But I just don't feel like they should demolish this house before the trial. I feel like it was a mistake to remove the victim's belongings out of this house. That, in my opinion, they were removing evidence from the crime scene that they might need. They may need this stuff. And they keep talking about healing. And they keep saying that, we just want to make things better. But in my opinion, what would make things better in this trial would be to hold the person or people responsible for these crimes accountable. Not removing and destroying evidence. That just doesn't make sense to me. Regardless of whether this prosecution believes that they have everything they need, they have a slam dunk. Regardless of how confident they are in their case, they do not know if they're going to need this house. I just, like I said, I understand from both sides, but I'm definitely on the side that this house should be left standing until after the trial. I feel like this is a key piece of evidence, and I feel like demolishing this house would be the University of Idaho destroying evidence. Now, please stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to be doing a video about an interview that was done with a local Idaho news station in the very beginning, the very, very beginning, when these crimes first occurred last year. And this news report talked about some information. And you can't find that news report anymore. I remember seeing that news report, and others remember seeing that news report. And you can't really find that news report anymore. But I have some other information about that news report. And I'm going to do a video about that with regards to some details that were put out there in the very beginning by this news station. Now, I'm just waiting on some confirmation from the information that I have, because I always try to confirm everything that I'm saying. Now, if it's just my opinion, I obviously let you know. This is just my opinion. These are just my thoughts. But when it's information like this, I like to verify the information and verify, where the information is coming from. So I'm just waiting on this information, and tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be doing a video about these details that were released in the very, very beginning, because they're pretty important. So stay tuned for my next video, and please like and please subscribe to my channel if you like my content. I really appreciate all of you. We'll see you next time.